A carjacking is a violent felony against the person, and that means that our response can protect our life. Hi everyone, welcome to today's research-informed defensive lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa. Today, an interesting one with some important lessons. As you watch it through the first time, make sure you're thinking about what lessons are coming from this out of Sao Paulo.
Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video.
It is the middle of the night. If you look at the timestamp in the top right, you see this guy getting into his car. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's just going to kind of take his time. See the guys walking across the street here. They are very important to our discussion, and they're going to kind of take a look at him, and he's going to get his stuff organized and kind of take his time, and then they're going to decide, those guys across the street are going to decide, hey, you know what? Let's go over and see what we can find in this guy's car, and maybe get us a car to have to joyride around. So you see the guy in black. Our defender here is going to try to pull out a little bit. Guy's going to block him and now roll his window down to talk to these guys. And he's going to talk to him a little bit, and they're going to, I don't know what they say. There's no audio on this. And then watch here as the guy in the black coat is going to try to jerk open his car door in just a second as they're discussing with the other two guys instead of just driving off. He tries to jerk his car door open and then dives into the car to grab I don't know what. Well, that gets our guy to get his gun out, and he puts a couple rounds in the guy in blue. The other guy ran off. This first guy did make it through this. He lived through this incident and is facing significant charges here for carjacking as well as a hospital bill. This man was an off-duty, he is Policia Civil, so I don't think he's armed police, but he is authorized to carry a firearm, and from the news stories I've linked in the description, it looks like he is being looked at here that this was a case of justified self-defense. You know, we talk about the legal lessons here, and that's a pretty significant portion of this. Some other ones as well. We'll get to those. But from the legal perspective, I can't tell you enough. If you are in the ASP Unlimited app, make sure that you are looking in the full classes rail so you can find there the updates, the legal and moral self-defense, legal self-defense updates so that you protect yourself and not end up in prison. Those lives in a state-sponsored gated community are no fun. And if you're not in the ASP Unlimited app, come and join us. Some people get frustrated at me because we talk about the rules of stupid on Active Self-Protection, and that is don't go stupid places with stupid people at stupid times and do stupid things and probably nothing bad happens to you. And people get frustrated because they're like, well, I can do anything I want. I shouldn't have to worry about that. Listen, you can do whatever you want. It's just increasing the chances of bad things happening. You can usually break one rule of stupid and get away with it. In this case, he's out at 2 o'clock in the morning. And really nothing good happens from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's just the reality of things. You might have to be out though because your job might require it. And you know, there are reasons you could. Generally going to the club ain't one of them, but you know, there might be reasons you have to be. All right, fine. Just don't go stupid places with stupid people and do stupid things. You'll probably be okay, but I can't guarantee it. And so when you do have to go out, hey, when you're getting up to your car, let's remember the Hey Let's Go acronym, right? Hey stands for head up, eyes scanning, yellow condition, paying attention to what's going on around you. Then when you get in the car, let's go. Lock the doors, engine on, transmission engaged, seat belts, and a scan. Then get organized and on your way. Don't dawdle. We talk about that on Active Self-Protection Extra all the time. Use that Hey Let's Go acronym because you want to get moving. You don't want to sit in a car because a stopped car is a transitional space and it is a highly valuable item that bad guys want to take. And so when you do dawdle in your car, and this guy did, you guys can check that. He's sitting there for a good 30, 40 seconds, just kind of dawdling in his vehicle. And when you do that, you are more apt to have problems. And so this is why we use that acronym, right? It's just a reminder, hey, let's go, to get on your way, so then that way you're not sitting in a spot. Now, if he's paying attention in his world, he might notice that these guys have then turned his way here relatively quickly, that they were kind of walking down the street. All right, fine, I note them, I clock them out there, that's great. But then once they turn and start heading back towards me, that vectoring towards you is an absolute indicator that something is wrong. Now, I get it. There are some soft-hearted people that say, well, maybe they need some help. Guys, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. There is no kind of help I'm going to be willing to offer somebody in that kind of situation. And I'm a guy with spiritual convictions, and I want to be the hands and feet of Jesus everywhere I go. At 2 o'clock in the morning, the risk factors here are significantly high. Should have seen this one and been gone. Should be in drive, off and gone. And I think he kind of starts to do that here. But again, paying attention to your world. That's why in the Hey, Let's Go, there is seat belts and scan. So you see what's going on outside the car once again to see, hey, what's going on outside? These guys are making a vector my way. It is time to be gone, because the best defense you have here is not getting in a gunfight. It's not your handgun. It's your accelerator pedal. And you see him, he kind of starts to move out here, but he takes his time. And then the other part of this is he rolls his window down, which makes me think he's not really paying good attention. Cannot tell you enough. Window up, doors locked. When you have a window up and the door locked, you have a barrier between you and any threat. And we find that barrier very effective in real life encounters all the time, even though bad guys can shoot through a window too. They don't often do that. And so having that barrier in place is critically important to self-defense. And I get it. People, it's like summertime right now, and people are like, but John, I like driving with the windows down because I like the wind in my hair. I get it, but one of the reasons that I don't do that is for security reasons. Maybe once you're driving down the road and you want to roll it down for a little while, fine, but you're stopped in traffic, you're stopped, at the car here, keep those windows rolled up and turn the air conditioning on, all right? Now, this guy then comes over and stops him, and he's using this discussion as kind of a ruse. And this is kind of a common thing. We call it a shark bump. And that shark bump is he's bumping up against you to see if you're food. Hey, man, you got a light? Can I use your phone? We're lost out here. You got a cigarette that I can bum? And all those shark bumps. Now somebody might be like, oh, man, hey, I've just been dying for a cigarette. Or we're wandering out here in the middle of nowhere. Friends, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Your risk factors here are too high. And this is why we say, I just don't engage in stuff like this. This guy should have been long gone. Now, he did something very right here, and I want to really praise him for that. And that is, you're going to note that our bad guy here is going to very quickly jerk on his door handle, but it doesn't come open because his door is locked. Man, how many times on the channel have we said, lock your dang doors? And so many people don't, and they end up victimized, and the fight gets a lot harder because their door is open. But this guy hasn't. And I really feel like the locked door was a key factor. Now, of course, if the window was up, he would have been even better protected. And had he just driven off earlier, then we wouldn't have a video to bring to you, but he would have been much safer and would not have to face the judicial discretion, right? Of did he do something that was justified here? Now the guy dives into the car. This diving into the car, trying to jerk the car door open and then diving into the car, makes me argue that this is a carjacking. He is trying to forcibly remove our defender from his vehicle. So this is not just a simple theft. This is trying to forcefully remove somebody from their vehicle. And that is a carjacking, which is a violent, forcible felony against the person, which every state in the union says that is a violent, forcible felony when somebody is carjacking you. Of course, you always want to check your local laws, but I believe that every state would justify the use of deadly force to stop a carjacking. But you got to be able to get to the gun. And I know some people are going to say, oh, this is why I keep a gun in a car magnet or some trash like that. But you don't want to do that because he can get access to that gun too. But it does take our good guy a couple seconds to get his gun out. Remember, the right holster for your gun is the one that you brought the gun into the car with. And that's what looks like our defender has had his gun on his person. So then he gets it out. It's worth working on your seated draw just a little bit, especially from your car. Do it safely. Make sure that you're not out in public or doing something goofy. But is it justified to shoot this guy? I believe it is. Now, again, I don't know the laws of Brazil, so I'm not talking about what's going on in Sao Paulo, but I'm saying here in the United States, I believe because this is a carjacking attempt, he is justified to shoot this guy. Now, of course, there's going to be some discussion as well, because I think this first shot, you notice that the presence of the gun sends the guy moving. That's good, right? That's going to stop a lot of carjackings. But he's going to then, over the course of about 1.5 seconds, so he puts a shot towards that guy, then the second shot is what actually stops the guy, and that comes about 1.25 seconds later than the first one. And I know some folks are going to be like, well, this guy is in full retreat in that moment. Remember, there's some human performance factors that we have to consider here, that in order to stop shooting takes time as well. So the decision to start shooting and to say, man, this guy is trying to forcibly remove me from my car. He's going to put me in the hospital or even kill me. I got to get my gun out. He does, starts shooting at the guy, misses the first couple shots. And the decision to stop shooting from a human performance factor takes it can take up to a full second to stop shooting when you want to, because of the programming of the motor action that's already happening. So he's not stopping from nothing. He's already decided shoot. To get a program to stop shooting, to go through his neural system and down to his finger, can take up to 1 second to happen. And so with that in mind, I also think this all happens in one motion. And so I would argue, if his lawyer asked me to, that this is still justified. But I also want you to recognize that this is going to get a good long look from a prosecutor that's going to say, well, wait a minute. Okay, when the guy is right at your window, I'm okay with it, but he starts really running away and you keep shooting at him. So I would argue that based on human performance, he's probably still, again, within the realms. He's made the decision long ago and he's in that human refractory period trying to get his finger to stop. But that's an argument we're going to have to make, and it's going to cost a lot of money. So the simpler answer here is to drive off, right? So if you can avoid this kind of gunfight, then you're avoiding paying the attorneys, you're avoiding paying the expert witnesses, you're avoiding all the time in court, you're avoiding all the problems with this, which I would strongly encourage you to do. So use Hey Let's Go is a much cheaper, much more effective, and much less dangerous way, because the guy's life was at risk because the guy was trying to carjack him, if you just get away from this kind of problem. Though I do think that his actions were justified in the moment based on everything that I said before. Notice that his bad guy buddy ran off as well. Shoot the first one, word spreads fast, and the second one heads off into the wild blue yonder. And in fact, we tend to see good guys use fewer rounds against multiple bad guys than we do against single ones, because he starts looking over at the other bad guy and then stops doing that. Now, of course, I want you to not ignore that second bad guy, and I want you to do your follow-up actions appropriately, right? So the follow-up, remember what we want to do here is it's tap ifs. Tap is for the fight. Threat down. Did I hit him? Do I need to shoot him again? Then A, accomplices. What is his buddy doing? If his buddy's running off down the street and is no longer a threat and is totally gone, fine. P stands for partners. He doesn't have one here. Ignore that. I, check for injuries. Are you injured? And are you okay? Hey, man, you might get badly injured in a fight. You might not know it. You want to make sure that you're checking in on that. First F is your firearm. Is your gun still in working order? Here, if you have a reload, is a place where you probably want to think about topping your gun off. If not, just verify that it's still in working condition. Maybe check and see how many rounds you got left. Then second F is follow up. What's important now? What should you be doing right now in order to make yourself safer? And our good guy here is kind of flagging somebody down the street. I don't know that that's the best idea right now. I think checking on making sure our bad guys are completely out of the fight, maybe getting yourself to a safe place. And then, then the final S is seek help, call it in, call 911, win the fight to 911. I don't know what the emergency number is in Brazil, but in the United States, 911, to get the cavalry on the way. It's an interesting one. Again, we never mind it when bad guys get their just desserts, and this guy, I think, did get his just desserts, but recognize there's going to be a little stink on this one because of how long it took for that last shot to fire. I think that shot was still justified because of the totality of understanding human performance. Now, some people are going to say on this one, they're going to say, well, he got everything that's coming to him. He should be able to shoot him in the back and kill him over property. I disagree, friends. I think being a good, sane, sober, moral, prudent person is the way to go. Certainly that gets you within the standard of legal self-defense, and a legal self-defense, we can defend life, but not property in those particular cases. And a fleeing felon, we really don't want to shoot because it's going to invite additional scrutiny. But in this case, given how fast everything happens, I think he was still acting on that initial impulse. I think it was justified conduct. So I don't have any problem with it. I just don't want anybody to think, oh, John says I can just shoot people in the back as they're running away full tilt boogie and it's totally okay and justified. I'm not saying that. I want you to be very cautious and recognize that when they're in full flight, let them go. It's a smarter thing to do do all the way around. In this particular case, with these particular facts, I would argue that he is justified. But remember, I might have to make that argument, and that argument might cost a lot of money, a lot of heartache, a lot of difficulty in order to make the case to the prosecutor. And that's why I say, hey, let's go. Get out of the danger zone. Don't sit there in the moment. Keep your window up, your doors locked, and use that accelerator, because avoiding this one, I think was possible. I don't think he's responsible to do all that, but I think it was possible and would have been a far simpler way for him to cover his asp.